All right, good morning. We're going to start off by taking a moment to think about a situation when you were using a second language and someone asked you to do something and you misunderstood and did something else.
Fairly early in our time in Papua New Guinea, while I was still learning Tok Pisin, I was asked to speak in the Pidgin service, and I referred to my daughter as Liklik Meri Bilong Me instead of Pickaninny Mary. And what this meant was that my daughter was serving as my second wife.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your stories. So from those, we're going to talk about what are some of the main functions of languages that you see in these situations.
Well, don't we use it for conveying information?
Conveying information. Which is like, when we're conveying information, we're communicating.
How easy it is to miscommunicate.
Miscommunicate, yeah, conveying information or miscommunicate. In your situation, Tiny, what were you trying to do when you were using Tok Pisin instead of maybe English?
The service that I was speaking in was for Papua New Guineans, and so we were using Tok Pisin in that service, plus a few others that wanted to improve their Tok Pisin or identify with the Papua New Guineans, really.
So in the way you were using Tok Pisin to identify with the people?
Very much so, yes.
Okay, in groups of 3, we're going to do 2 activities in the next 10 minutes, and you're receiving a handout with instructions on it. Follow the instructions, and then we'll come back together and talk about it.
Right
Language
there.
is taught as a school subject,
Mm-hmm.
okay? The language in which the media are conveyed, that'd be mass media right there?
That would fit, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
okay, good.
Okay, let's come back together and kind of talk about what you discovered as you were looking at the case study.
It seemed like what he mostly talked with in his home was mock.
Was mock.
But
go
ahead.
Yeah, that would be the group language in this
Okay.
situation. So Ruth, if you will mark mock. Anybody see any other potential group languages?
What about when he's meeting together with people from other areas and they're using the Pidgin English for a little different group? Mm-hmm. They're using Pidgin English there, it seems.
Yeah, Pidgin English potentially could be. A lot of times when you come to a marketplace, though, you have multiple languages that are occurring. So really the group language is the language that they identify with most.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But you could put a parentheses around Cameroon Pidgin English. Put an X with parentheses. All right, so now we've just looked at identifying certain functions of languages, kind of globally, different ways that we use languages or are used in certain situations. Now we want to look at who is concerned about the use of language within a nation. What are some of your thoughts? Who is concerned about use of a language within a nation?
Education is interested in the language used.
Government also.
Yeah, and commerce.
You've just identified some of the people who are concerned about language use in the nation. We're going to talk about now the reasons why, or the purposes why certain languages are chosen within a nation. If you look at your handout under the title Functions of Languages in Nations, you have 3 types for 3 reasons why languages are chosen. We've talked about all these functions of languages. How then does the use of languages affect you in your fieldwork? Affect you as a linguist? Affect you as you're working with others? Affect you when you're making decisions about language use? Take a few minutes and discuss that in your groups, and we'll come back together and share one idea from each group.
I guess that's a big reason why they might not want.
Okay, let's come back together and kind of hear from each group one idea that kind of was raised in your group.
You know, we talk about going into a culture and learning that language so that we can identify more with the culture and integrate into it. But then she said, well, what about when, you know, they maybe want to integrate in a broader context and won't want all of these things being done in their language?
Your table brings out a very good point that as a linguist working with people, that you're a change agent. and that you're wanting to integrate with these people and get to know them and raise the prestige of their language when they may resist that because they're wanting to integrate or identify in a different way from their own language. So you're a change agent, and that change agent can bring stress to the group. Thank you for sharing. Let's hear from another group.
Well, in China, we use the cluster approach when we're doing our language projects. And so I would think this kind of thing would be very important in discovering which language is considered the prestige language within that cluster group, which is a minority language.
Okay, as we wrap up, in your small groups, take about 5 minutes to discuss how the use of languages has affected you in your field work, and how potentially now, as we've looked at the use of languages, how that will affect you in the future. Write one response on a letter-sized sheet of paper. We'll post them up on the board and then discuss them.